I've just met this local and he informs me the railway station is one abiding memory I have of the bridge. We can see here the ground's rising up and there's remains of old masonry. This area is known as Swindon and it's at this point where the Hannington station was. Cool, what a lovely bright sunny day it is, really bright. Well, I'm stood in the middle of Meadowcroft Park and from here I can see all the houses all along, but if you go back maybe sort of 40 or 50, 50 odd, 60 odd years perhaps, the houses would have all been gone and all I've been able to see across there would have been the railway, and it would have stretched from its beginnings over near Gypsy Lane, near the town, and then it would have wound its way all along where the houses are now, and then it would have ended up over at Stratton Station. So I'm going to make my way back now to Stratton Station, to the old piece of rail that we found in the fence at the beginning of the previous video, and then we're going to commence our journey and we're going to be heading out of town, and I'm going to try and follow as close as I can the route that the railway took till its conclusion in Highworth. I know some of the routes on private land and I may not be able to get access to that, but what I'll try and do, if I can, as and when, I'll put the drone up and we'll try and get some aerial views, see what remains of the route, and see what remains of the outlying stations. There's 3 stations to visit. There's Stanton Fitzwarren Station, Hannington Station, also known as Swindon, and finally the terminus of Highworth itself. So yeah, let's get moving. Well, we're here. This is where the railway post in the hedge is. Yep, it's still there. It hasn't moved in over 60 years. So the thing now is to try and follow this route, because I know it goes on that way. It's impenetrable through there, so I've got to go round through the houses and then pick up the route. So just round the corner we have this, that's the hedge, which is impenetrable basically. That's where the railway would have come down along there, and then it would have gone this way. And what we've got now is a cycle path following the exact route of the railway. We're heading out of town. In actual fact, I've got a photograph that I took a still shot from the drone when I flew it a few days ago, and you can see the route. I've put it in red on this drone clip, so it shows quite clearly the route of the railway line as it goes out of town through the industrial estate and then on into the countryside. So I'm by Taylor Crescent now. You can just see the sign there, and this is where the footpath or cycleway comes across here, across the road, and then it would have followed the hedge line down there. But again, I got to deviate because we've got the busy A419 to get across, and so I'm constricted. I can't follow it at this point. I've got to go round. Right, so now I'm down in a deep cut-in, and behind me is B&Q warehouse, and the line itself went through a cut-in between where those trees are. And you can see it quite clearly in the drone shot. It's all very wild, very overgrown. I've walked it in the past, but there's not an awful lot to see there. The lines have all been taken up. But what does remain is the Kingsdown Bridge, the overbridge. where the road went over the railway line, and it's an impressive structure. It's still intact and in good repair. So take a look at the Kingsdown Bridge. So there is the Kingsdown Bridge. The track would have gone right through the middle of that and then on, but you can see we walk through the bridge, go to the other side. It's completely overgrown. Yeah, a bit waterlogged in here, I should say. Over here on the wall there's what remains of some sort of electrical connections, and this would have been mostly steam engines would have run along here. Yeah, quite an impressive bridge. Not many people come along here, but the route would have gone forward. Tracks have all been removed. It's just a jumble of jungle. And a bit further on, literally about 100 yards that way, there was a spur which spurred off to take rail traffic to the Vickers Aircraft Factory. One abiding memory I have of the bridge, as a very young child, sat in the back of my dad's car. When we used to come into Swindon, we lived in the villages to the east, about 5 miles to the east, and Mum and Dad used to come into the town for shopping, etc. And when we used to come over the bridge, Dad always used to put his foot down and to get a bit of speed. And I can remember the sensation of negative G as we went over the bridge. It's quite a humpback bridge, that. Anyway, let's move on now. Into the countryside we go. I'm now on the outskirts of Stanton Country Park, and I've leant my bike against an old oak post. So this again is another reminder of the railway. There's more oak posts all along here, and a little row of them just down here. Look, yeah, look at that. Yeah, so there's some more oak posts, a little row of them, and the line itself, it ran through here, all the way through here. So I'm basically walking on the path of the line now, and there's an old gate, what remains of an old gate. Look at that, in complete dilapidation. That would have been the old gate which would have shut across the Kingsdown Lane. It's fallen to bits now. Look at it, the ironwork there. Oh, it's come off in my hand. Falling to bits. There's history for you. Old barbed wire. There's the hinge, look. And this is the Kingsdown Lane. Beautiful lane. Been along here many times, featured on the videos a lot. And another view of the gate which came across the lane. And then the railway line continued on along there, deeper into the countryside. We can see here the ground's rising up, and there's remains of old masonry there. You can see it quite clearly. This is the remains of a bridge. There was a bridge which crossed the railway line at this point, and it went up over there, come all the way across here, went over there, and then there's a ramp which goes down the other side. And all the research that I've done to try and find out what it was, I believe it was a bridge which carried the farm track, linking the land to this side of the railway to the farm, Stanton Park Farm, which would have farmed all this area. So that's how That's how the farmer got his connection to the other part of the land when the railway came through. Obviously it sliced his land in half. I think they should have left the bridge intact. It would have been a nice feature. I don't know why they tore it down. Big lumps of masonry, and they have put up a sort of a monument type of thing up there. Quite what that's about, I'm not sure. And if you move over this way, you can just see the ramp coming down. This part of the track is quite beautiful. We're in sort of a cutting, and it's quite clearly defined, the route of the old railway. Lovely to ride along. Right, I've got to get the bike down these steps now, but I can see where the railway went. This was once a bridge, and you can see the two ramparts, and there would have been a platform across taking the railway over that, and then on towards the Stanton Fitzwarren station, which is our next stop. So I'm almost sure to be cycling on what is now the railway line itself. Obviously the line's been taken up, and there's another bridge just here, look, to take to allow the farmer, I suppose, access to the land either side. And it's just a few hundred yards along here we come into Stanton Fitzwarren station. Yeah, there's an old post there, look. An old oak post. Down on the right hand side, just see it through the trees there, that is Stanton Mill. It was a corn mill, hard up against the railway line. Beautiful old place, that. I got to say special thanks to Darren for sending me the pictures. Darren used to live in the village and he knows all about it. The line would have just gone, I think we deviated off the line, it would have gone just down there. Now I know it doesn't look much, but this house here, this stands on the site of Stanton Fitzwarren station. And if I spin the camera around, you can see we've got another old gate here. Look at that, big thick piece of oak rotting away. And this is the gate which would have swung across. And then over here we've got what looks like a passenger entrance. A passenger entrance to the station perhaps. And the line would have just gone through there. So there you go, that is the station. And on the wall here we've got a British Transport Commission notice, look. The piece of old railway. Someone's dogs are barking, I know I'm here. But there, you can pause the screen, and if you want to see that, you can read it for yourselves. The other thing is, just walking down Mill Lane, we've got another house just here, and this was the old station house itself. So there you go, that's the station house, and there's a sign on there which says old station house. So unfortunately at this point I can't continue on following the route because it's on private land and there's no public right of way and there's no way I can push a bike along there. So I got to go on the road to the next point of interest. Incidentally, there were a set of primitive points in Hannington, and it was the job of a local villager to come down and move those points by hand, and I think he used a big iron bar as a crowbar to move them. Again, thanks to Darren for the wonderful photographs. This incidentally is the village of Stanton Fitzwarren. Well, the railway would have left Stanton Fitzwarren. This is a busy road here, I can tell you. It's bloody awful. Awful. It would have left the quiet, beautiful Stanton Fitzwarren station, and it would have followed the Bivemill Brook. And I'd love to be able to get across and seen it actually, because there must have been several little bridges which they had to traverse to get over the brook. Anyway, it would have followed the Bivemill Brook until it got to this point on the Highworth to Blunsdon Road, also known as the Cricklade Road, where it would have crossed the road. And all that you can see now that remains of the bridge which took the railway across the road are pieces of concrete which jut out into the road quite dangerously, I think. But anyway, they're still here, and they are historic, if you call modern history historic. So there they are. This is part of the old bridge for the railway. And there's a placard here. I don't know what it says. Yeah. It's all buried. Crumbs. What does that say then? Wiltshire County Council Stanton Water Bridge, rebuilt in 1934. I can't read the bottom bit there. Anyway, looks like it needs rebuilding again. Well, this is interesting. The route of the railway track followed the Bivemill Brook across the Cricklade Road, the Highworth to Cricklade or Highworth to Blunsdon Road, and it would have followed in a swooping direction all the way round, obviously avoiding the village of Hannington, but this area is known as Swanborough, and it's at this point where the Hannington station was. And I must admit, I've never been here before. This is a new experience for me, so I can have a little look round and see what there is to see. There you go, look. Pretty sure now I found the actual location of the Hannington railway station. It's there. This is the platform, and the railway would come along here. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. You can see the slope as it slopes up just there. So I'm fairly sure this is where the Hannington Railway was. It was along, the actual station was here, pretty sure. And the line would have run along through there. What a wonderful find. Just over here we'll have a quick look at the Bivemill Brook. So there you go, that's the little brook that the railway line follows along. Lovely little brook. Sorry, I'm riding on private property at the moment, some trespassing, but it's got to be done. There is the platform, and I'm riding along where the trains would have gone. Now it's just a muddy farmer's field almost, but you can see how it went. It went all along here. We'll go a little way, but I can't go too far because it becomes impassable again a little further on. Still see the concrete posts. This is the exact path of the light railway. It looks lovely here, doesn't it? Doesn't it look lovely? Well, this rather insignificant looking part of Highworth is where the railway came into the town. Where those bushes are, it came through there. Where these houses are, it took these houses out. It went in behind those houses and it ended a quarter of a mile up there opposite number 344 Windrush. Bit of an incline to cycle up. It must have been making black smoke, the old loco coming along here. Well, we're here. We're at the site of the Highworth railway station. It would have been in this area, occupied all this area here. I think just over there, a few yards away, would have been the cattle pens. The platform would have been around here somewhere, and this is all that's left. Welcome to the Highworth railway station. I've just met this local, and he informs me the railway station is.
You can see the light standard there?
Yeah, I see the light, yeah.
It was there on the bank.
Okay, yeah.
And this, so the back of the station came to more or less where the path is.
Yeah, yeah.
And this was the service road at the back.
Goodness me. You wouldn't know ever a station here, would you?
No.
Incredible.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, it came from there.
That's right, yeah, I understand that, yeah.
Yeah, it came round the corner.
Yeah. So that's the way it came. So I was very close. I thought it was there, but it's actually...
It was actually there. This was the service, and I assumed that they came in the back.
Yeah, yeah.
Over there, so north view.
Yeah.
Back of those houses across from Station Road.
Okay, yeah. This is interesting. So you got...
So this was a picture. It was taken behind this house here.
Yeah.
Before that was built.
Yeah.
Looking across, and you can just see in the picture the remains of the old... I'll take this out.
Oh goodness me! You can see like a.
You can see the remains of the old station. So they're building round it, and they were using that as a workman's shed.
Flipping heck! It's a shame in a way, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but you know, that's the back of the building.
And that was 1971, was it?
That was when that photograph.
Yeah, 1971.
Yeah, so that was the rear from the 30 Stapleton Close. So.
Yeah, yeah. That's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Yeah. So you were interested in local history yourself, are you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'm not very knowledgeable, but
no, me neither.
I'm a member of the local historical society.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of history around here if you're prepared to look for it, isn't there?
They had it displayed in the old railway museum, you know, when it was Fleet Street?
Yeah, yeah.
It was displayed in there. When they moved to the new one, they stuffed it in a shed. And took years for them to find it.
So this very helpful gentleman is Ken Saunders, and he's given me a photograph which I've put up now, and that photograph is of the old
remains of the old railway station.
Remains of the old railway station. And he told me that the sign, it went missing, didn't it?
Oh yes, back in early late 60s.
Yeah. And then it was found again.
Yeah, somebody put it up for auction.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Highworth Historical Society bought it, displayed it in the old railway museum in Fleet Street.
Yeah.
And then when they moved the museum, it got put in the shed.
Yeah.
And it took them years going through the sheds to find it.
And then finally it was relocated here.
Relocated here. And
if you want to see the sign, it's at the Highworth Community Centre. And this is it. The old sign from the railway station. Look. So this is the old railway line, an image of it, which is on display in the Highworth Community Centre.